SIBN Television and Radio Networks has openings for internships. Learn internet radio, web TV production, audio production, broadcasting platform integration, and so much more. Visit www.sibntelevision.com. That's www.sibntelevision.com. Click on the icon for internships. Complete your application, and a staff member of SIBN Television and Radio Networks will contact you immediately. This is your season. Your talent is required. Your skills will be upgraded when you connect with SIBN Television and Radio Networks today. Visit www.sibntelevision.com. Click on the internship program. Complete your application, and someone from the staff will contact you immediately. For more information, dial 404-910-5019 or email us at globalcoverage@selectusatv.info.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station.
Hi, Jamaica Chapel, College Park, Georgia, in the house. You're listening to SIBN Radio.
Hi, this is Ted Bones calling from Richmond, Virginia, and you're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up now.
Hi, this is VJ Washington calling from Atlanta, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. So turn it up.
Hi, my name is Sonia Claiborne from East St. Louis, Illinois, by way of Columbusville, Missouri. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Turn it up.
What's good? It's your boy Joe coming from Snellville, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station, changing the way we live. SIBN FM. Powered by Select USA TV.
Ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but it means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you are destined to be. I always say, we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room for our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you. Well, welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner right here on SIBN Radio. My name is Marcus Salette. As I approach the microphone, I appreciate those of you that have stopped by, but I still got my issues, both personally and professionally, ever growing and evolving into the person that I am destined to become. And so as I approach this microphone, I trust that you understand that I'm bringing the wisdoms of the matter of this life and the journey therein. And I hope I can earn the right to speak into your life. And I would be remiss if I did not say thank you. A heart full of gratitude to those that constantly stop by. And not only stop by to listen to us on a regular basis, but they download and they share these shows, respectively, collectively, with their friends, family, and interested parties who are desiring for personal development, upgrade, and change. Today we're going to be talking about restoring our injured soldiers of the faith. Restoring our injured soldiers of the faith. Let's get to work. We find that as we move about the cabin of the journey of life, we have a lot of folks that have stopped going to church. Let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what's wrong with our community, our society, is that we have forgotten to call wrong, wrong, and right, right. We have mixed the two, and we've called God Satan and Satan God, and thereby we can't really discern when we have injured soldiers of the faith. Many injured soldiers of the faith go about undetected. It may be one sitting next to you in the cubicle at work. It may be one that is attending church, but they have disengaged. I was watching a movie once, and the nun confessed to a killer that she did not know, she no longer believed in God. And one of the statements that came out of her story of why she didn't believe, how she was raped by a dance instructor repeatedly and slit his throat and was sentenced to a convent rather than a prison cell. She thought that she took God as an excuse not to face herself. That sounds like some of us. How we use God as the cover for not facing who we really have become. And others are impressed with the entourage of our facade. How impressed they are with your ability to recite scripture and have the religious jargon of your day. Be able to sway and swag others into the persuasive belief sematics, if you will. Yes, sematics, you know. The dressings of religion with no power. I need some help. And this young lady, as I was watching this movie, this young lady admitting these things to the killer because no one else up to now had even took enough interest in her to pay attention and listen. I need some help right there. She begins to share her life story of, though I am a nun and though I am dressed in religious garments, I must admit to you I am using God as an excuse not to face myself. And she expressed how she had always wanted to be a ballet dancer. She had always wanted to be expressive in dance, but this one instance, being one of my examples today, this one instance of raped 17 times as a 10-year-old dancer led her to an experience beyond her capacity to understand until multiple years and decades later. On the 18th time when the dance instructor approached her, she had a knife that she took out and she slit his throat twice. And since she was so young, they sent her, as I said, to a convent instead of sending her to prison like a convict. I need some help. And so she would be what you would call an injured soldier of the faith. Starting off in life with an aspiration, starting off in life with a dream, starting off in life with a goal, with a mission, with a sense of purpose, starting off in life with a sense of destiny. But somewhere along the path, you were either dropped, you were either injured, you were in a major accident, and there were no first responders on your case. That's a lot of folks. Some of you listening to me used to go to mass regularly, but now I don't have time. That is an inconvenient truth for me to even think that I could return to church, to return to spiritual meditation, to return to spiritual priorities. It is simply unimaginable, and I can't even conjure up a reason that I should return. You know, one of the reasons why you don't want to return, you may not want to return, it's because you're still yet comparing what happened to you then to what's happening to you now. And as a person said so eloquently, as I was listening to a person talk about these things, this person said, there is no comparison to your yesterday to your now. There is no comparison from yesterday to your now. God has blessed you. God has healed you. God has led you to another path. God has given you better understanding. God has given you wisdom and understanding. So there is no comparison. Then you were caught in the thicket. Then you were a victim. Then you were snagged by a snare, perhaps. But now you have my voice. You have other voices. Your girlfriends, your boyfriends tried to tell you. Your husband has tried to tell you. Your wife has tried to express how that you are now in a place where you could heal and be whole. I need some help. And we as a people have to be ready and willing to restore and first recognize and then restore injured soldiers of the faith. There's so many people out there that have given up on God, but God has not given up on them. And how many of us understand how or what to look for the injured soldiers syndrome? I need some help. Can you recognize ISS anywhere that you travel? Of course you can, but you got to be looking. Not just looking with your eyes, the physical eye, but you got to be looking with your spirit. I remember somebody asked me one time, how are you doing? And I said, fine, like I normally do. And then they asked me again, how are you really doing? And I think I jerked back and I said, well, what do you mean? Because we're so used to the facade of response. Or I should say we're so used to the facade of reacting that we rarely give a great response. And the person asked me again. I said, how are you really doing? And I saw 2 or 3 chairs up ahead. I said, let's walk and then let's sit. And maybe we can talk about it. Injured soldiers syndrome is when you have wound after wound after wound with no first responders attending. When you have infections from the past bleeding over to the possible potentials of your future. I need some help right there. And we got to recognize that even some of us listening to the sound of my voice have been injured. You can hardly get through this life without being injured. You can hardly make it through this journey without being injured. So it's no specialty case per se. This doesn't set you aside and special because you were injured. But what it does say is that we recognize that this journey has its own set of thickets. It has barbed wire fences where folks have crossed the boundaries and we have been left unprotected. I'm very concerned about ISS, Injured Soldiers Syndrome, because once you get into that category, you're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone for violating your life by principle, or violating the principles thereby of your life. You're in the danger zone to violate character developments that are solid. You're in the danger zone also for the emergence of things that you thought wasn't in your past or that wasn't in your psyche, wasn't in your emotional framework, now emerging as secret taunts and torments from the incubating violations of a once long ago. ISS, are you an injured soldier? And do you have or do you know someone that has injured soldiers syndrome? Oh, that's not a word that I picked up from the military. That's my word. Because the syndrome occurs when there is no healing. The syndrome occurs when we can't see today as a new day, a new mercy, a new grace, a new opportunity. It's a problem when you can't see that waking up at dawn as a choice opportunity to make a difference, as a choice opportunity to take a new step in another direction. I need some help right there. And you and I are charged with restoring our brethren. Now listen, I'm not just talking to church folk. I'm talking to you as a human being, part of the human experience, and in this human journey. You and I have a charge to keep. Yes, we have a community also to elevate. And we're not doing that. We are more catfighting. We are catfighting more than any other time in life, but yet we have more in life than any other time. We are richer more materialistically than any other time in history, but yet we are still yet divided, though we try to stand. Why? Because you can't get a leg up without reaching back with a hand down. I need some help right there. I said, you can't get a leg up without reaching back. There's always a cause and effect. There's always success and failure. There is no such thing as only success. There's failure because those that succeed have to learn how to reach back and teach and help other people who are failing. There's first responders because there are those of us who are fighting in this fight and we are walking this walk of faith and we're journeying in this life, and we come across incidents and accidents, and we need folks who have been trained and folks who have been sensitive and folks who can discern that we are not well right now. But to go not well for 2 or 3 decades is not good. And I want to encourage you that we have to be as a community, not just as a church, because that's part of the problem. Your life is just wrapped up within the 4 walls. And as the nun who had the 4 walls and a wrapped up life inside of it said, I use God as my excuse to not face myself. And when we begin to face ourselves, our communities, our regions, our cities, our towns can change. But most of us are hiding behind something religious or something psychosocial or something psychological or something philosophical in order to hide the pain that was never tended to. This coach.
SIBN Radio, powered by Select USA TV. Tune in 24/7 at www.415-96radio.com. Follow us on Twitter at Select USA TV and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Select USA TV.
All right, folks, we're back here. Short commercial break. We got to get to this. We're talking about restoring the injured soldiers of our faith. We're talking about addressing the ISS syndrome, where folks have been injured for months, for weeks, for years, for decades, and no one has paid attention to their pain. They are so hated, so judged, so suspicious of, but no one dares to check in to find out. Do you have wounds that need attending? Do you have issues that need addressing? Do you have something to say by which you would now need an ear to hear? Do you need someone to encourage you and make way for new meditations? Do you need someone gave me a certificate once on Father's Day. I said, someone gave me a certificate once on Father's Day. I looked up the next month, this person was dead. And I looked at my life. I looked at my life. And I said to myself, it is a crying shame. It is a crying shame that we are not sensitive enough to understand that folks are hurting. So bad, so bad, so bad, so bad, to the point that they will go, they will live, they will walk, they will run, they will drive along the journey of life with that hate, that hate for that injury, not the hate for the person, not the hate for the circumstance, but now you begin to hate the injury. So thereby, if the injury happened to you, guess what? You're hating yourself. I need some help right there. This person gave me a certificate. Happy Father's Day, in a little promise book. I looked up, I'm not going to say a month later, but months later, this person was dead. And I saw that gift, that token of a gift. I saw it as a love signal, a 911 responder, a first responder, an ambulance signal, an emergency room invitation. Let's talk. And I never got a chance to really talk with this person. Well, she wasn't saying just talk to her. Let's go back to God. Let's go back to the faith. Let's go back to, and let's reimagine. Not the thing that happened to us, or the series of situations that happened to us, because you know they do run in the series. If you went through one thing, it was about 10 things, 20 things, 30 things attached to the one thing that you went through that you can remember. And if you really stop to remember right, you can remember 2 or 3 things, but it just all perhaps permeated in that one thing, and that one thing is what you remember. But trust me, it was a whole bunch of things that added up, creating a domino effect to bring forth that one memory that you can't seem to heal from. This person gave me a certificate in the Book of Promises and died months later, having made a mark, as one preacher said it, having made a mark on my heart that will never, ever be erased. They had the sensitivity enough to look past the talent, look past the intelligence, to look past the impressionable issues that most of us are impressed with, and seek to ask a question, invisible as though it may be. What say you of your injuries? See that there is some infection, some scarring, discoloration. What is it about you that I could somehow contribute to the wellness of you, who you are to become? I felt something push me right there. What is it that you need, sister, my brother? What is it that you are lacking? What is it that you are missing? What's been broken, and how can I fix it, is what she was saying. I want you to know that folks feel unappreciated. They feel abused sitting right there in church. I need some help right there. While the preacher is preaching, while the rector is rectoring, while the shepherd is shepherding, and while the bishop is bishoping, folks are offended. Folks are... You don't want to get me started. And we have to be, not only in the religious setting, but we have to be about restoring folks who we know had once great faith and still may exhibit the fumes of religious fervor, but yet could be losing power in their personal development. You know, we all have faked the funk at some point. I hate it when I hear someone criticize, well, I don't go to church because there are too many hypocrites. I haven't returned to faith because there are too many hypocrites. Well, let me tell you something. Part of life is about hype. If you didn't have hypocrite, if you did not have hype in your life, many things in life you wouldn't survive. Oh, let's balance this thing on out. And let's re-encourage folk who have taken a pretense toward the journey of life. and have forgotten, as one of my good friends says, have forgotten to switch code. Because, see, you can't use the same code for the life you living now. That code was from the life you lived 20 years ago. You can't use the same code. You should have been done switched code by now. You should have been done switched. I said it ebonically and grammatically incorrect. You should have been switched. You should have been switched by now. But you're using the same code from 30 years ago. You're using the same code for 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and trying to live a new life. I'm just trying to encourage. I'm trying to build you up. There's folks that could be great writers, great coaches, great orators, great school teachers, great attorneys, great husbands, great wives, great sons, daughters. They could turn the corner. They could stop riding that black horse of demonic activity, if you will, and begin to ride the white horse of a provided righteousness. I need some help. And they will access that grace gift and tap into that mercy that never runs out. I need some help. But they're going to need somebody to tend to those wounds left unattended. And the question is, who will it be? Will it be you? Will it be you that will stop what you're doing, as this one lady stopped what she was doing, and she tended to the invisible wounds? I don't even know if she could see them. I don't even know what she saw, really. I just know that she gave me something. And I remember bringing it into the studio once, and I was going to find a place to hang, but I left it laying on the shelf. I'm going to show you something real quick, real here, before we close out. I was going to hang it up. Notice I said I was going to hang it up. I had every intention on hanging it up. And I got to moving around and doing things in the studio, and all of a sudden it fell and the glass in the frame broke. And the thought that came to my mind was, I see a devil somewhere trying to destroy this gift. Just imagination, just imagination. Don't have to be true, but that's just the thought that crossed my mind. Because you know what? When someone stoops down from the success and the platforms of life to tend to a wound that's full of infection and pus and dirt and folk pouring salt in it, it is absolutely the greatest love of God you'll ever know. When someone condescends from their position of power and impact and influence to tend to the stankiness of our wounds, it is the sweetest love you will ever know. And I think that that's where we have gone wrong as I close. We have forgotten to love folk. We have forgotten that this life is not just about success, but that this life is about love. Not romantic love, not what you can get and how many booties you can tap and how many women you can have and how many men, baby daddies you can get and how you can... Don't get me started. Don't, please. But this life is about loving each other and loving yourself. And how do we do that? Well, God will have to show us how to love. And the greatest exemplary of love is the tending of wounds that stink, scars that won't fade, infections out of control. If we could love past the convenience of what we like, if we could love past the convenience of how you should have did it like I told you, if we could love the injured soldier, we might just be able to send somebody forth to claim the victory for the next generation. Follow me on Twitter if you can.